Chris.
Heath, good to be back.
That's right. Episode. We're back the same way like a mummy rising from a sarcophagus is back.
It hasn't been that long.
No, it's fine, I guess.
It's like the old saying where, Cleopatra is closer to modern day than the construction of the pyramids.
You're right.
And our last episode, I'd like to think our last episode was still close enough to modern day.
I would like to think so too.
But yeah, we missed all of April.
Which is fine.
Yeah, it just means this episode 86, that is, will be even more juicy.
Nothing happened in April.
No, not a thing. It was
If your birthday's in April,
it was a vacant month.
Okay. All right. Take it away.
Sure. We're recording now. It's May 6th, 2023, episode 86 of Mobius Tubes, the best video game podcast out there.
The second best podcast that Chris is in. Oh, wait. Take a page out of your mom's book and shill our email address.
Oh, yeah. We're going to lead with the email address.
Yeah.
Send us an email. We'd love to receive them. We'll read every single one. You can write to us at mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com.
That's mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com.
It's been ages since we had correspondence, so we'll be even more hungry for one than usual.
You say that, but I feel like I've been being sent mind messages in the form of games that you've been playing.
Oh, okay. I've been teasing you with the games I've been playing.
That's right.
I will get to them momentarily. Speaking of teasers, I'm going to tease the opening bit to next episode.
Yikes.
Hey, remember we have this ongoing opening where Chris is like decorating his apartment.
This is true.
I'm hoping next episode will be the finale.
Ooh.
Because you will have visited me by then and have seen the finished product.
What a thrilling arc.
Yeah. And then you can rate it.
Uh-huh.
Remember last episode where I was I'm going to be subtle with the decorations. I don't want girls to know I'm a huge dork.
That's right.
That convention has gone out the window.
No.
Yeah. I've gotten all new art that we didn't even show last episode.
Oh, boy.
It's on the walls everywhere, out in the open. It almost would serve as a nice backdrop for this podcast, perhaps.
Oh, there's nothing stopping us from getting over there except
lugging your equipment over there.
Except lugging it, yeah.
Yeah. But pending your opinion, of course. Maybe you hate it. All will be revealed next episode when you tell all about your thoughts.
I will be the judge.
Very good. A shout out to the artist online Crow Smack. That's her handle. I bought a lot of artwork from her.
Oh, this is an Etsy person.
She is on Etsy, but I went right to her main website.
Uh-huh.
Wanted to support the creator directly, you know?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's enough of that. Stay tuned till episode 87.
Coming this fall.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit earlier if we're feeling ambitious. You have any other nonsense you want to talk about?
Nah, just bathe me in your games.
Bathe you in games. Okay, I'll go in chronological order. What did Chris play in April?
Go in alphabetical order.
No, I'll go in chronological. That's my intention. So not only did I finish Resident Evil 2 Remake, I finished it twice.
Yeah. Oh, because of the zapping system.
The zapping system?
Yeah, like you can change which character your playable character is at what time, and that affects the storyline.
Yes, absolutely. I had no idea it was called the zapping system.
As far as I know, it's called the zapping system.
Was Tesla on that part of the game development crew?
You know, Mr. That's why he's called. What do you think, Mr. T? What Mr.
Mr.
X?
T.
Mr. X was a SpaceX employee until he was
let go.
Let go.
That's why he's so frustrated during the game.
He's just like, I can't believe I didn't get my severance package.
Yeah. So just if you didn't tune in last episode, I was playing the 2019 remake of the classic 90s Resident Evil survival horror game, the one with Leon S. Kennedy at the police station. And when we checked in last time, I had not yet encountered Mr. X.
Right.
I was still a Mr. X virgin.
Right.
But now he's defiled me.
Don't let him get too close. You got to find
Yeah.
those save points.
So I have a few impressions about him. First of all, yeah, he's absolutely a menace. Whoever the design team at Capcom was in charge of animating this giant hulking mass of a man, and the sound design team, the deep thuds of his footsteps, he is just dread personified. He just you start to hear the clump around the corner, and there's a pit in your stomach instantly.
You never played with headphones.
I did not. No, I had nice speakers.
That's a common thing for horror.
okay.
Harkening back to the early days of like PewDiePie and Markiplier playing Amnesia.
Is that for deeper immersion or for more like directional noise?
People might try to say it's the latter, but it must be the former.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. But trust me, I was immersed enough as it is. Any more and I would have been peeing myself.
You would have been you would have been suffering from the T virus yourself.
True. I would have contracted it. So yeah, Mr. X totally lived up to the hype. He is this imposing invincible force that pursues you relentlessly in the early parts of the game around the police station. I do super respect the fact that his AI algorithm telling him where to go, where to show up, how to harass you is very dynamic. When I was doing playthrough number 2, trying to go fast to get that sweet S rank, I was consulting some speed runs online just to get the lay of the land, some tips. And you can't go by the book on any guide online because there's no guarantee Mr. X is going to pop up in the same locations for you as any other player. He's not scripted whatsoever. And I super like that fact that he forces you to improvise. And the context of which room he's in, how much ammo, what your resources are like, the way you adapt to him, it could just vary so much. I love how uncomfortable Mr. X makes you.
You ever go through a doorway that's pretty small and you're like, haha, there's no way he can get through here. And then he just kind of like crams himself in.
Right. Yeah. The animation team did such good work of him bending down below the threshold of the doorway or just his aggressive fast walking towards you. It's scarier than running.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you knock his hat off, does he bend down to pick it up ever? If you knock his hat off, I think he runs faster.
You get an achievement when you shoot it off. He doesn't seem to like it. He's attached to that hat.
Right.
So you're not getting on its good side.
Steal his look.
Right.
Because the Met Gala just happened. Known Met Gala fan, Chris.
Yeah, you can tell
I'm
by
appealing
the
to the
expression
girl
on my
listening.
face. Okay. Here's the one big surprise about Mr. X, though, because all the impressions I had heard and led me to believe were accurate, except for the fact that, wow, he's not in a large portion of this game. Because when I hear Mr. X, or Tyrant, as he's called in the game, I think he's integral to this game.
Yeah.
He's like synonymous with it.
Box art.
It's like playing, I don't know, Smash Bros. Without
Kirby,
yeah, or Mario. But yeah, he's just in a fraction of the game. He harasses you in the police station, but only for like half of the police station. And then once you're through that, which is the first, I don't know, 30 to 40% of the game.
you go into the sewers.
You do go in the sewers where he's not to be found.
Right.
And then he just pops up sporadically at the very end for a final encounter. Wow, he was absent for the majority of the runtime, and I did not expect that going in. I kind of see why they did it. His presence is just so stressful.
Yeah.
If he was there for like 60% of the game's duration, I'd be exhausted.
That's right.
But no, he's only there for like 20, 25%. And that's a nice balance to strike. I almost would have liked to see a little more Mr. X.
Well, you got that in Wesker.
I don't know who Wesker is
I
yet.
don't know either yet.
I think he's in the first Resident Evil game. I've got so many more to play now. So yeah, Mr. X, big highlight. Well, let me just check my notes here.
You got that in Nemesis.
I hear Nemesis is like a little more underwhelming, though.
That
at
is
least
true.
in the remake.
That is true.
But stay tuned for those impressions. They're coming someday.
You got Madame Dimitrescu.
She seems cool.
I'm just naming all. If you were born after the year 2005, you might think that the Resident Evil franchise is just big people trying to stomp you.
Right. Sometimes it's a little Napoleon, man.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay, that's a Resident Evil 4 thing.
Okay.
Not that I've played it. Okay, moving on. I just wanted to shout out, hey, Capcom, I really appreciate this design ethos where they provide all sorts of little incentives to get you to replay this game, which is exactly what I did. I finished playthrough 1, and then I was super eager to see what Claire's whole deal was.
Yeah.
Because I know Leon, but Claire Redfield was this enigma to me. So that not only do they have new character with some new story scenes, some slightly different weapons just to give a different feel to the combat. There's also like the A route and the B route, which start you in like there's different chunks of the game in the B route compared to the A route.
Yeah.
It's just like they in small, relatively easy to perform ways, they remixed and remashed the game so that you could play it again and get a meaningfully different experience.
Does its Game of the Year nomination make more sense now?
I took it at face value that it belonged there, and I totally see it.
Okay.
Now, especially. It is such a tight, greatly designed game. The location of the police department where the whole beginning chunk of the game takes place, I see why that location is iconic. It's just, its layout is so meticulously crafted where you're constantly circling back, unlocking doors. The way you flow through that place and get to know it like the back of your hand, love it. This game doesn't feel like it was grabbed out of the 90s and rushed into modern day. I would have thought this was just a new release had I not known better. And that's just hats off to really good environment design, I think.
The mini map tells, or not the mini map, because there is none. The map lets you know what spaces you've like cleared, what spaces have a point of interest in them that's yet to be seen.
Yes, perhaps the most user-friendly map in all of video games.
In all of anything.
It's so useful. Just it's constantly updating itself automatically, letting you know, hey, you missed a couple things in this room, but these other rooms, there's nothing there left for you. You totally cleared them out.
Right.
So handy. Which you, in a game as, you know, that is as taxing and stressful and claustrophobic as Resident Evil, you need a helpful map to just maintain your sanity. Yeah, so great to shout that out. Yeah, I love how replayable it was. I was just wrapping that up. Seems to be an ethos core to several Capcom franchises because they got me replaying Devil May Cry 5 all over again many times with like persistent progression. And I felt similarly here with Resident Evil. Not to mention like the really cool game-breaking unlockables you get. The infinite ammo guns, the unbreakable knife. If you do certain playthroughs, you want to chase those goodies, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, just all sorts of excuses to get you diving back in.
Are you seeing all of these Resident Evil 4 memes about Leon talking to President Biden?
No.
Biden's like, Leon, I'm glad you're here. I can't do Biden. If I hear, just Leon, I'm glad you're here. No, that's Obama.
No, that was closer.
He's like, I need you to save my daughter. Yes, that's how it is. God.
If I had a daughter, I'd trust Leon S. Kennedy to save her.
Yeah.
He's a hunk. Where else am I going with this?
The mixing herbs in the attaché case.
Yeah. The inventory management was took a little bit more of a backseat than I thought it might. Everything was really just like a square or a rectangle. I was expecting more intricate shapes.
Oh.
Maybe that's in later entries in the series. Unsure. Just to conclude on Resident Evil, game I loved, by the way. I loved it so much, I actually have physical Resident Evil art hanging in my apartment.
Oh, good callback to 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, you'll be the first to see it if you come over after this.
It's It's a big juicy hamburger.
Oh, from the opening.
The opening.
I want to talk about the most horrifying part of this horror game. It was the existential crisis it gave me, and that's only slight hyperbole. So I finished my first run through the game. I finished it riding a high, eager to dive back in, see what Claire's whole deal was, go route B, do all that stuff. Started checking the achievement list, see what I could check off on my second run through the game. And then I became aware of a business practice Capcom does. With this game and other entries in the Resident Evil franchise, I started to see, okay, cool. If I'm really speedy in the second playthrough and get the S rank, I'll unlock the infinite ammo pistol, which will make clearing out these remaining achievements a breeze. Because, a lot of the difficulty in the game comes from conserving ammo, where having infinite ammo would be game busting. It would be huge. The tension would evaporate, and it would be smooth sailing. I realized Capcom, for a small paltry fee of $5 or less, you can pay to unlock all the goodies up front. No need to do your speedy Major League Gaming S rank playthrough to get that infinite ammo pistol. You'll get that. You'll get like a bazooka. You'll get that unbreakable knife, which gets you out of tight spots. It could all be yours for the small fee of $5.
This is just pay to win.
It's pay to win. Yeah, it is pay to win in a single player game where you're not harming anyone else's experience per se. But I was like, that would make my next playthrough so much faster. I'd have an easier time with these achievements. I'm fortunate enough that $5 isn't a big deal. The price isn't really a hindrance to me. This seems pretty worth it to me. And I added it to my cart, and I was going to check out and buy it. This
completionist toolkit.
Yeah, like it's called get all the unlockables up front or something. And then I got hit with this existential crisis, and I had to sit there with myself, puzzle it over it was about a 24-hour period where I was legitimately kind of bummed out grappling with this question. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
I'm tempted to pay money so that I will spend fewer hours playing this game.
Yes.
Fewer hours playing this game that I'm enjoying a great deal.
Yeah.
And I will have sucked out all the tension from the experience. Because a lot of the horror comes from, getting down to your last 2 bullets in the chamber.
Right.
And that would just be a non-factor with infinite ammo. So I'd be crippling this game that I had enjoyed so much. Just the
you
previous
reduce it
day.
down to a gamer score provider.
Right. So I'd ask myself, what am I doing here? Am I trying to make cool memories of this, this experience only this game can provide? Or am I trying to knock off achievements and finish games in as short a time window as possible?
Right.
What do I care about? And, I saw both sides of the coin. Both were kind of appealing. I realized this was an important decision to make because whatever I landed on, I'd be faced with this question every time I played another Resident Evil game. I'd have set the precedent.
Establishing a doctrine.
Right. So at the end of the day, I realized, no, this would ruin it for me. So I didn't buy.
There you
didn't
go.
buy the
my
cool
God.
gun.
Everybody just claps for Chris.
It was so tempting, though. So I did. I want everyone to know how good at games Chris is. I did achieve the S rank with Claire, just no extra goodies.
Right, because if
unlocked.
you did it with a single goodie, you cheated.
Yeah, you cheated yourself. But yeah, I had to grapple with that question.
When you were victorious in your moral dilemma.
I kind of like that the pack exists, though, for the people where Resident Evil is too scary for them. And this allows them to experience the game if they make it, a lot easier.
Oh, if Echoes of the Eye sold me a sanitization pack
for $3,
it would be a required purchase.
Right.
Pay to stay in my installed library.
Yeah. So that was Chris's time in Resident Evil 2 Remake. It was so good.
Your favorite game of 2019.
No, that's still Outer Wilds.
Oh yeah, good.
But it's in the top 5, hanging out around there somewhere.
Yeah.
Cool. I've got 2 more games to talk about, but did you have anything to jump in with?
Speaking of inventory and slotting items in a grid-based fashion, I bought Dredge.
You bought Dredge.
I bought Dredge and I played Dredge.
I'm pretty excited to try Dredge.
I was like, Bailey, I will fold this laundry if you play Dredge.
Ooh.
And she goes, okay.
Before you had hands-on.
Right.
She was the guinea pig.
Right. So she boots up the game.
What's the pitch of this game?
You are a seafaring guy, and then you shipwreck on a foggy night into this island, and the mayor, you wake up on the beach, and the mayor is like, "Wow, you took a big L landing on this island. Your ship is busted. We managed to repair it, but you got to repay your debt to society by catching some fishes."
You're like an indentured servant.
Just for like the first 3 days.
Okay.
So you sail out, you get some blue mackerel. It's a fishing game. Much as the same as any other fishing game. You hit the QTE event, and then you catch a blue mackerel, and then you put it. A blue mackerel is like a little 2x1 tetramino that you put in your attaché case. This one, it's a little more involved because some fish are misshapen. The cod is like an L shape.
What's this saying? Like, it's not a real RPG unless it has a fishing minigame?
That would be the first time I'm hearing that.
Oh, okay. That's definitely a thing out there.
So, hey, good job. You repaid your debt to society. You can sell the excess fish that you got to achieve more upgrades at the dry dock. And now you have like a faster boat, more complex fishing lures and rods. And then you eventually get the upgrade to actually dredge the ocean floor for like shipwrecked wood and valuables. And there's just like a little something going on that's not everything seems to be. It's a little occult, a little Lovecraftian.
Would you say it's a little fishy?
So, no, I loved it. I thought it was equally relaxing and not, because you have your sanity meter, and the more eldritch beings you fish out of the water, the greater the hit to your sanity, and then you start seeing things that might not be there.
Very, very Bloodborne.
I got chased on the water.
Oh.
And you don't want to go too fast because you can smash into rocks that just kind of appear out of the fog. It's very in-depth. We've probably put like 10 hours into it, and I'm eager to go back. Bailey and I, what questions do you have for me?
How much satisfaction do you derive from the engine building big numbers go up component of the game?
There is literal engine building. There's like this engine is able to output 15 knots. I mean, I did very little customization. Bailey just like handed over the controller, and I was fishing, and I was like, "Is this more valuable than this? Is this more valuable than this?" And she's like, "Whatever. Just you need to sleep. You've been fishing. Your sanity meter is draining. You need to rest and replenish." And I was just constantly coming up on like key items and stuff, and having a hard time slotting it in. I'd have to like throw out the eels I just caught 5 minutes ago. So I think I am. What was the question? How fulfilling is what?
Are you enjoying like the power curve as you get better equipment? Is it like keeping you hooked?
Yeah, it's totally balanced. You don't spend like a full day's labor trying to repay your debt. Your debt is repaid in like an instant. And
Animal Crossing, it is not.
That's right. And the funny thing was, in our first go at it, Bailey crashed into some rocks, and we were so poor because we had yet to embark once, so there was no reserve funds to repair the ship. So we did a hard reset.
Okay.
But once she got her sea legs, we were doing pretty well.
Nice.
And she found an ancient temple at the far reaches of the map.
Yeah.
And we have to illuminate the 3 flames. and it's a mystery where we go from there. But I'm eager to boot it up again.
Is the mysterious horror elements what is keeping you coming back, or is it just a sum of all the parts working in tandem?
I'm gonna say the former.
Okay.
The sum of all the actual fishing. I'm so good at fishing. Dude.
Yeah.
It's so much in the same way that I'm so good at Frostpunk. The learning curve. I've supplanted the plateau, and now it's just motor inputs.
Yeah,
that I
you
just
were
punch them in.
born in the wrong time and the wrong place. You should have either been born along the coast to embrace your fishing aptitude, or during the Ice Age.
God forbid I get put on the Arctic Circle and get the best of both.
Oh, frozen fishing. Yeah.
No, Chris. When I learn a system and I learn it good, that's what video games are for. You just plug away.
Yeah, enjoy that feeling of mastery.
And if they have a fun story to tag along with you just acing these casts and acing these freezing miners in the Arctic, that's why I seek out games.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's Dredge.
How far along would you estimate you've made it into the game?
Oh, we're like 30%.
Okay. So maybe like the biggest reveals have yet to come.
Yeah. I mean, the mayor's up to no good. He's like, "Can you deliver this package to a friend of mine on island number 2?" And the subtext as you receive the package is like, it's still dripping.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's good.
I like that. Pretty cool. I wasn't expecting you to be playing a hot new game like Dredge.
Yeah, I bought it with money.
Yeah.
Despite all the free games I got and the stuff that I already own that I don't open.
Oh, were you able to download Control on an Xbox?
No.
No. Ah, damn.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to your Objects of Power tier list.
I should get on that.
To harken back to what you said about loving that feeling of mastery video games provide, I'll talk about a game that challenged my feeling of mastery. So I returned back to Doom Eternal.
Oh.
I did double back to play the DLCs that released for the game. So I played and finished the first of its 2. I played the Ancient Gods Part 1, which is 3 new levels they added on. The pitch for this DLC is, what if the campaign just didn't end where it ended and kept going, kept building right where you left off, which allows the developers, id Software, to do a couple things. Make it a decent percentage harder. So they're going in with the assumption you've beaten the main campaign.
Yeah, those Kingmakers, easy.
Kingmakers? Marauders?
Whatever. Who's isn't the king, like, what are the makers?
Oh, yeah, there are a species in the game called the Makers.
That's the final boss.
One of them is...
The Icon of Sin?
The Icon of Sin is not a maker. Also, I'm very hazy on my Doom lore. You do fight a maker, though.
Okay.
Which is distinct from the Icon of Sin.
Great.
Who cares? When you're in the main campaign of Doom, there's lots of cool, like, if you go a little bit off the beaten path and explore, there are optional upgrades and collectibles you can grab. Which means when the developers were designing the levels in the core game, they could never be entirely certain how much optional exploring each player was doing, which I feel like forced them to make the game, somewhat reasonable. They couldn't throw the whole kitchen sink at you because there was no guarantee that maybe you didn't get all the weapon mods for all your guns. So
What a shame that would be.
You're at a bit of a disadvantage. Hey, Bailey.
Hey, what's up?
How was the Home Depot?
It's all right.
I was there too.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Did you see me?
I did.
I did not see
Through the aisles.
Yeah, through the aisles.
Like,
Then I ducked down.
She takes the box of light bulbs off the shelf, and you see Chris's eyes from the other side, and he.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I had no idea.
I think you were leaving.
Yeah. Also, Jenny was, like, acting really weird when we were there. She was, like, super scared about something. Her tail was tucked, and I don't know. It was weird.
Oh,
So, yeah.
she knew I was there.
Maybe that's why. Hey, bud.
all the weapons.
Yeah. All right. Boom. You enter this DLC. They start you off with the whole tool set.
Wow.
So there is no longer this weird, hey, how much is the player exploring dilemma? No. Everyone starts on the same exact footing.
Here's your BFG.
Right.
Here's your sword of
Yep.
red.
You've got all the suit upgrades. You're fully tricked out. So they can make this as hard as possible. And they really go for it. At one point, you're fighting 2 marauders at once, and it was dicey.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, they introduced just a couple new mechanics, like a turret enemy that's fairly underwhelming. The major mechanical innovation of this DLC, The Ancient Gods Part 1, there's this new enemy called a spirit. It's a cool concept. It's this, like ethereal blue spirit, and it will possess regular enemies, and when they're under the influence of a spirit, the regular enemies become way faster, have way more health. They're a much bigger threat, which is cool. And then when you defeat them, the spirit kind of like lingers in the air for a minute, and if you don't deal with it quickly, it'll, like a parasite, will repossess someone else. So that's a big issue. You don't want to pump a lot of resources.
Chris, parasites don't repossess
if the original host expires, kind of
like a fictitious parasite.
Yeah, surely there's a parasite out there that has jumped around between multiple hosts.
Okay,
that's what I'm trying to get at here. So you'd feel like a dummy if you vanquish the spirit once only to have it hop into someone else. So the way you deal with that is kind of in a weird decision. They force you. The only way to get rid of it, it's kind of like a Ghostbusters reference. You've got the microwave beam, which is an attachment to the plasma gun. I'd never used the thing. It's the only way to permanently deal with a spirit.
Yeah.
Is to microwave them up.
It's like an ectoblaster.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
That was a new precedent. Never before in the Doom conventions did they force you to use one specific weapon. They'd heavily incentivize you to, stick a grenade to the Arachnicron turret. You want to do that.
This is the key in the lock.
This is like you actually need to use the key. It's no longer just heavily suggested. It is mandated.
Okay.
So that was a little out of the ordinary.
Come on, John Romero.
So the spirits are tough. The one time in the game, in this DLC, where I felt like it crossed the threshold from challenging to maybe being sadistic is when they threw a possessed Baron of Hell at me.
How could they?
How could they? So the Baron of Hell, it's a big melee-focused, speedy guy. He's constantly leaping at you. Like, he's nipping at your heels the entire time you fight one. So the result of speeding him up, giving him more health, and most egregious of all, possessed enemies by a spirit become immune to your frost grenade for some reason. Frost grenade, super handy for temporarily locking in place.
They can't walk toward you if they're frozen.
All the speediest enemies in the game.
Yeah.
Just removing that advantage of their quick maneuverability. It's immune to it all of a sudden. So on all my playtime, I never developed any good heuristics for dealing with a possessed Baron of Hell. My strategy was I'm just going to tank damage here.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose a couple lives. Yeah, I don't know what to do. I never figured it out. It was rough, but I guess good thing that wasn't in the main game is the only silver lining.
You need to, while you're watching these Resident Evil speed runs, you need to have another tab open of Baron of Hell walkthroughs.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's probably, you know what? Have you tried? You told me the tidbit about Mass Effect 3. If you shoot the visor of the mech, the pilot can get
Atlas,
hit.
Yeah.
Try that.
Try that.
Try that with the Baron of whatever.
I don't know why it didn't occur to me sooner.
It's funny. You said that Doom Eternal's. No, this joke's not going to work now. Doom Eternal features an ethereal blue ghost type character.
Yes.
What other game? Not Doom Eternal, but what other game debuted alongside same day as Doom?
Animal Crossing
And
New Horizons.
and isn't there a ethereal blue ghost type character that could show up on your island? I like to think it's the same character.
Oh. It's just haunting that day's releases.
What's that enemy type called again?
A spirit.
Yes, the spirit and Wisp are one and the same.
Was the Wisp like a seasonal update?
No.
He appears when it's nighttime.
Oh, okay.
Yes, seasonal side character.
Part of the day-night cycle.
That's right.
Okay, cool. This is only 3 levels compared to the main game's like 13. So not much else to say. I still super love Doom Eternal. It was great to be back. I'll try to finish the other part of the DLC and talk about it next episode, maybe.
Doom Guy have any other dialogue in this DLC?
He's still silent. There's a very chatty intern you talk to.
Uh-huh.
And there's like big story implications. Honestly, it seems like you're going to fight Satan, maybe.
Naturally.
And then the second one.
He also appears in Animal Crossing.
That's the crossover I would have expected. He goes by Tom Nook in that universe.
That's right. That's the secret if you pay off your mortgage.
Yeah, that's all the Doom Eternal impressions I've got for you.
Next.
Finally, speaking of DLC, I played a DLC that was long overdue. Arcane Studios, they've been in the news lately.
Yes.
Not for the most glamorous reasons. And I was riding high off that death loop. And I was like, it's been too long and I'm overdue. Let's try Prey Mooncrash. The most underrated piece of DLC for an already underrated game. This released back in 2018. This is hey, let's take the immersive sim magnum opus Prey sci-fi game and remix it and turn it into a bit of a roguelike repeatable experience. Set on the moon. And the premise is a little bit convoluted. It's actually taking place in a simulation, which kind of factors into gameplay. As the longer you do any given run, the more corrupted the simulation gets. But in essence, you're on this big moon base with 5 playable characters, and the end goal is trying to get them all 5 to escape in one go-through. Kind of a lot of ideas that popped up in Prey Mooncrash. You see them remixed and revised in Deathloop.
Right.
Because it's another piece of content where you're all about a single day cycle. Honestly, systemically and mechanically, Prey Mooncrash, the way they do the loops is way cooler than Deathloop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The coolest thing in this, it almost feels like you're playing a cooperative game with yourself. The way you've got these 5 playable characters representing like distinct play styles. This in and of itself is such a cool idea. The main campaign of Prey, where you play as Morgan Yu, I talked about it years ago. It's an immersive sim, so it's all about play your way and express your agency. Do you spec your character into being like very proficient with guns or have a bunch of alien abilities, or will you be a hacker or like an engineer? And you play through Prey, and it's a lengthy game, 25, 30 hours, and you develop your own play style. And yet, in order to experience all the diverse ways to play Prey that the game has to offer, you would need to go through that lengthy Prey campaign all over again. That's a lot of time invested.
And Prey did not use the zapping system, so there's no Claire B-side to
There is no
jump
B route.
into.
Prey Mooncrash is like, ooh, what if you were at a restaurant and got this sampler buffet where you don't need to play through this big chunky campaign. You're doing these constant iterative loops over and over again where you can hop into the shoes of the engineer, the soldier, the biotic guy. And then you get this smattering of all the different diverse ways you could play Prey, but you get it in this bite-sized package, which I really appreciated. Because, I only played Prey that one way before, and now my mind has been opened. There's so many different ways to tackle this game. All right, as I was saying, the way this game, you're kind of playing it cooperatively with yourself. These 5 escape attempts you're doing with the 5 characters, they all take place within the same single instance of the level, of the big moon base you're on, which means your first escape with the engineer, let's say, you're making your way to the escape pods and you pick the environment clean, grabbing every consumable food item in sight, grabbing all the good weapons, just being a complete scavenger.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things you pick up will remain looted for your subsequent escape attempt.
The 4 remaining.
The 4 remaining people will have slim pickings, basically.
Right.
It's one single instance of the level that is only reset when everyone dies or you reset the entire simulation. Then they will randomize the environment and you'll play through that, up to 5 times. So you're kind of playing this relay race with yourself where you'll have one character go through the environment and then baton pass to the next. It's totally systemic in the sense that you choose which characters appeal to you. Maybe you save the most arduous tasks for the star of the track
Your
team.
main.
Your main.
Yeah.
And you do the easy shuttle escape with the director because her combat capabilities are lackluster.
Yeah, because she's a woman.
She is a woman, but and she's actually, if you power her up, she becomes pretty good. But early game director sucks. Where was I going with this?
Baton pass.
No, I like how self-directed it is because you choose which play styles appeal to you and you do the heavy lifting with those characters.
Mm-hmm.
And the game isn't directing you in any which way. It's all up to you. I like that there's these 5 distinct escape methods. There's, the escape pod, the shuttle, the open up the portal. There's one that's just upload your consciousness to get your consciousness off the moon. Who cares what happens to your body? And you can mix and match, hey, which escape method, because they all require diversely different criteria you need to fulfill to achieve each escape route. It's up to you, which character do I match with which escape method?
Oh, those are locking keys?
It's up to you.
Okay.
It's just kind of up to personal
Multiple
preference.
characters can upload their consciousness.
Once you take the shuttle's gone.
Right.
Once you do the consciousness upload, that's also gone.
So it is.
They're all mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
But it is in stark contrast to Deathloop's there is only one solution. Prey Mooncrash is pick a character and mix and match to your heart's content. Do whatever you want.
It's the arcane product I am most excited to play.
Honestly, I think I preferred it to the main Prey campaign. It eclipsed it for me. I was so hooked. One of my early sessions, this never happens to me. I started playing it one evening. I was super into it. The next time I looked at the clock, it was past midnight. And I am an early to bed kind of person. The time just flew by.
You know who could take a page out of this book?
Who?
Hitman.
Okay. I mean, here's the thing. They kind of did. There is now a Hitman roguelike mode that neither of us have tried. But where were you going with that?
No, just you used up the sniper vantage point for this one target. Now for assassin number 2, that place is swarming with cops because they heard the shot. Now you have to do the exploding rubber ducky.
Yes. Okay. No, I think there's maybe a point there. I like how you are constantly incentivized to not waste any time. There is a ticking timer. You're on a real-time timer.
Yeah.
As the corruption level grows, it progresses from stage 1 to stage 2 up to stage 5. If you actually hit corruption stage 6, it just boots you out. It's a hard game over.
You quit to desktop.
That would be a cool touch.
That would be cool.
But no, it does not Undertale you. So the constant need to be efficient with how you're spending your time, I like that pressure. I also like that this is actually legit more of a roguelike compared to Deathloop, where the environment you enter between each iteration is legit randomized and mixed up. The different sections of the base, of the moon base, are in permanent fixed positions, but there will be tons of variables to account for. Maybe the Pythias labs, the power is just turned off in one loop, which it's honestly, it's like a double-edged sword. Suddenly, lots of the automatic doors don't open for you anymore, but certain security systems that would shoot you if you have too many Typhon neuromods,
and I do.
They've been powered down, so you're safe.
Yeah.
So like, oh man, power's out. That changes things dramatically. Oh, what if there's a radiation leak in this area and you need to load up on pills for anti-rads?
You know who invented that?
Who?
I think Call of Duty Zombies.
They have lots of environment modifiers.
You would load into a map, and this time the special hatchet wouldn't be in that fence post. It would be in the rock by the generator.
That's true.
I think they did invent it.
Surely there is an example.
None before
predating that. But yeah, they really do mix it up with that. Not to mention just the entire distribution of loot all over the map is totally wildly different every time. I love Arcane Studios' level design is still peak form in this game, where you learn secret passages that make your life way easier, and you become so appreciative of because you've got to do a lot of backtracking in this. And last but not least, the difficulty of this DLC, Prey Mooncrash, it's a nice curve. It starts off real hard.
Yeah.
But you get to permanently keep all neuromod upgrades you make, and you also get to keep fabrication plans. So you can like enter a run. If you spend a little persistent currency you earn, you can enter a following run with like a cool shotgun, which will make your life way easier.
Yeah.
So it goes from real hard to, by the time you're ending the DLC, real easy. It's kind of counterintuitive, where you would expect the hardest parts of a game to be towards the end. It doesn't really work that way in this case. They try. After you accomplish a certain number of objectives, they start to throw some spanners in the wheel. Like they bring back
the mimics.
They'll introduce like more advanced levels of the Typhon aliens you fight, and even the Nightmare will make an appearance if you're in the late game.
Oh,
there's new enemies. A moon shark. He's fun. He burrows under the ground, but he only senses you via vibrations. So if you've got a jetpack, you can kind of skate by him undetected. That's fun. There's little touches. They introduce these like security gates that they have a sensor on them. Like if they detect alien Typhon material in the close proximity, the gates lock up.
Right.
Which can be a nice defensive barrier for you. And then it becomes an absolute pain in the butt when your late game characters are fully upgraded with Typhon material upgrades, and you approach the gate and it detects you as a Typhon and locks itself. And then you've got to like short circuit it to get around or use your abilities. One guy, the glass cannon damage dealer type guy of this 5-character roster, he had like a burrow ability. So yeah,
like a moon shark,
just like a moon shark. And the game is so systemic that yes, of course, you can burrow under the gate and get through that way. Yeah, just if you can think of a solution, chances are it works in Prey, and that's my favorite aspect of the game. So yeah, huge praise. You know, mechanically, I think it eclipsed Deathloop, but Deathloop had maybe like the cooler set pieces and the more fun environment to explore. Mm-hmm. So it has merits still, but playing them back to back like this did get me scratching my chin a little bit, thinking, maybe Deathloop was a bit shallower than Arcane's output.
Well, Deathloop was made by Arcane Houston. And Prey was made by Arcane Lyon.
It's Austin and Lyon, and you got them. Oh yeah, Deathloop is Lyon. Prey is Austin.
Okay, we should get more games by Arcane Austin.
Yeah, we should. I wonder if they've got any hot new releases coming out.
Let's check the thing. Oh no!
Before we take a break, I just wanted to throw in the one narrative ? Spoiler that I thought was so fun in Prey Mooncrash. So if you don't want to know, it's like a mechanical spoiler, I guess. The 5 characters that you play as you unlock them. You only start with the one guy, and you see the other characters if you pan over them in the menu select screen. You see their shadowy silhouette and their character class name. So you know, oh, I'm going to unlock the security officer, the engineer, and the custodian.
Yeah.
Okay,
Dangling
cool.
the carrot.
And you see them doing their like idle animation. The custodian's mopping the floor. And the custodian is likely the last character you unlock. And you're not very hype. You're
This is a letdown.
this is going to be like the pain in the ass character with no skills, right? And then it becomes uncovered that the custodian was actually a sleeper undercover assassin agent who infiltrated the TranStar moon base from a rival corporation. And then when you actually unlock the custodian, the silhouette is totally different. And it's like, oh, this is like the speedy stealth melee character, not the custodian. It was a bait and switch, and I thought that was very amusing.
Very cool.
So yeah, that's Prey Mooncrash. It was a delight. And that's everything I played in April.
All right, good.
Yeah, we're caught up.
Yeah. I mean, I did the same, like I did more gaming, but it's nothing that the audience doesn't already know about.
Is Mass Effect 3 playthrough on ice right now?
I'm still, what am I still doing? I'm still midway through the Krogan lady and the Turian something.
Those Turians are always up to something.
I've made no progress.
Okay.
It is on ice in the same sense that what has replaced it is hanging out with Elsa in Disney Dreamlight Valley. And
We certainly did.
dude, so much has happened since we last did the pipe.
What was the last?
Well, we unlocked Wally. We unlocked
Wally.
Ariel and Prince Eric.
No, we haven't. We unlocked Ursula, and I have not seen Ariel and Eric yet.
But their portraits show up on the objective screen.
Yeah, as like you need to like they're in the game.
It's like a dangling of the carrot. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we got
But Elsa and Anna,
all the
they
Frozens.
They are well, no, because there's still Olaf. We still need to find Olaf. He's in like the Frosted Heights or whatever. But Anna and Elsa are in my village. Kristoff is just hanging out, waiting for me to mine some emeralds so that I can
Oh my god,
do a quest.
Chris! I sold the only emeralds in the game.
I don't think you did.
Hang on, are we?
They're non-renewable.
I want to make sure that we weren't blocking Chris's camera when he was talking.
I think she was good.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So okay, we have a quest that requires 2 emeralds. Heath, in order to buy more inventory space, because remember, Dreamlight Valley is a slog. You have to pay for every single amenity.
Are there arbitrary timers?
A progression blocks you in the sense that like you'll run out of energy and have to go back to your house arbitrarily.
Oh.
And like your backpack is tiny to start. So I was just selling anything I could to buy more inventory space. I sold.
And I was like, please don't sell all my gems because I want to.
I was like, don't worry, babe. I won't sell.
No, can I finish what I'm going to say?
I
said, please don't sell my gems because I put them in my storage box at home and they're all nice and I have all my gemstones in there. And you're like, uh-huh. And then you go to Goofy Stall and you sell my freaking emeralds. And then we go to Kristoff.
I go,
right?
Yeah.
So we march all the way up to Kristoff and he's like, hey, in order to succeed, you need to do a spell. And
I can't beat back the forgetting. I can't reverse the effects of the forgetting without 2 emeralds
that you just sold to Goofy.
I was like, Bailey, don't sweat it. This game's gonna give me so many emeralds. Look, we can mine this one over here.
To your credit, I actually don't think that they were emeralds. I think they were peridot.
No, they were emeralds.
Are you sure?
Yeah. And so we mined this rock that has a glowing green gems from it. And we pick them up and they end up in our inventory, but the little quest marker thing doesn't check box. And it's because they're
shiny emeralds.
They're shiny emeralds.
They weren't just regular emeralds, they're shiny.
Worth more at Goofy Stall, but worthless for Kristoff's quest.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're not
they're
not regular emeralds that you can use in the freaking potion that he needs to make to find.
You need the dullest
Donald.
emeralds around.
And I can't seem to find them.
Nope. It took me like a week and a half to actually find emeralds after you like sold them. 2 weeks. I don't know, something crazy.
Tens of in-game hours.
It was crazy. And like I finally found my first emeralds after like 2 weeks. And they were the shiny emeralds.
Thank goodness. Oh yeah. Then there's the shiny. Yeah. So who knows? By the time we record next time, we'll have unlocked Simba
and Nala.
and Woody and Buzz.
Woody and Buzz. Oh, Stitch is also in the game.
Oh, I'm a Stitch fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Known Stitch fan, Chris Elman.
I'd come home from school every day and watch the animated series.
Oh my gosh, with like Pleakley.
Wait, the monster of the month, the alien of the week.
Right. I jot down their like numbers because everyone had a number.
Yeah.
I was like
That was
making
super fun.
I was like making a fandom Wikipedia page before that was a thing.
Wow.
To chronologue them all.
Oh my god. There was like a trivia night and it was like what the number that Stitch is known by. And so I'm like, okay, 626, yeah. And Heath looks at me, he's like, is that common knowledge? I'm like, well, yeah, don't you know that?
I did know that. I don't know. This is. I don't stand by these allegations.
Ooh, do you think they made an experiment 666?
Ooh.
Yeah, and you fight him in Doom Eternal.
Nice.
That was a good segue.
Thanks, Bailey. Bailey Fuseb.
Thanks for that. That was my contribution to gaming.
We played twice the amount of Dreamlight Valley as we did in Dredge,
Wow.
but same amount of fishing for both.
Same amount of fishing.
That's
for
right.
Excellent. All right, with that, let's take a break and come back with some news and some discussions. We'll see you then.
And we're back.
We're back. Heath,
Yeah.
let's talk Redfall.
Okay.
It's
Arcane
not
Austin
good.
is back.
Arcane Austin is back. Unfortunately, their welcome was not well received. Yeah, so Redfall's out and ooh boy, in rough shape. We don't usually dogpile on rough releases, but
No, this is a dog, like rough dog.
yeah,
Okay.
woof woof. This is maybe an exceptional case to talk about, but mostly because, well, I really like Arcane Studios games, and I never would have guessed in a million years it would be this maligned.
I haven't played it. Neither of you.
No.
All we know is what everybody's been saying.
I think in essence, we can summarize how bad it is. Remember the game everyone was dunking on earlier this year, Forspoken?
Yeah,
Forspoken has the higher Metacritic score between the two.
I did know that.
Yeah, Redfall's in the 50s. Man. So it's buggy, and it sounds like even if the game was in a more stable state, there's just not a lot there to write home about.
It's just because this genre is uncharted waters to Arcane.
It does seem a little bit like, hey, take this studio known for making systemic single-player experiences and then force the square peg into a round hole.
Yeah.
Try to make co-op Far Cry shooter.
This is like Michael Jordan becoming a baseball player.
Yes, or BioWare making Anthem.
Yeah.
Just not where their strengths lie. And hopefully that's the end of the story. It's just like it wasn't a good fit. They should have never had the green light to make this game. I can totally see why they were pressured
It was
to do it.
It was a red light.
It was a red light. Of course, this game was in development pre-Microsoft purchase, so the decision would have probably come down from ZeniMax, the publisher. And famously, Prey, for as much as I love it, was not a good seller.
It was commercially
A bit of a dud,
Yep.
especially compared to Dishonored. So ZeniMax may have mandated, hey, Arcane Austin, you've got to pull your weight. Let's chase those multiplayer bucks.
right.
You've got to make
Look at this
Redfall.
Overwatch 2 that's coming out soon.
So yeah, I hope it was just a case of the developer Arcane Austin being strong-armed into a game that didn't suit them. I think we'll know for sure when they next release a title in, 5 years, whether the talent is still there or not. God, I hope it is. But yeah, I never would have predicted, not in a million years.
This is like Supergiant making a dud.
Never happened. Yeah.
Right.
The pedigree of Supergiant and Arcane was sterling right up until this point.
Yeah.
It's like their Cyberpunk 2077 release moment.
Yeah.
Although
CD Projekt Red has always been rough around the edges.
they often release titles hot at launch. Yeah.
CD Projekt and BioWare.
Well, especially if we're talking about buggy releases, we'd have to talk about like Bethesda Studios.
Yeah.
Todd Howard and his plucky crew. Maybe the craziest reaction I've seen to the Redfall reception. Have you seen that Phil Spencer interview going around?
No.
He appeared on a Xbox podcast.
Is he still in front of that refrigerator that's an Xbox Series X?
No, his background has changed.
That's my favorite interview of his. It wasn't even an interview, it was a showcase.
Phil Spencer, the head of Microsoft Gaming and like head of Xbox, appeared on an Xbox-focused show, I think affiliated with Kinda Funny Games, where they interviewed him about this lackluster release and
Damn.
specifically hitting him on Redfall.
Don't they want him to come back?
And wow, did he say some surprising things.
Oh, yeah?
The candor he showed. For a guy who's representing the entire brand, the head of the figurehead and of the face of Xbox.
Yeah.
He was in a real pessimistic, defeatist attitude. He said some wild things. Like this interview, I believe it was released 2 days following the release of Redfall. So in like prime buying time.
Moms across the world are like, my boy loved Death of the Outsider. He loved Mooncrash.
This is the window where the game is going to sell most of its copies. And Phil straight out said, he said, yeah, we're selling this for $70 and it's not worth it. He said that about their brand new game. He also made crazy comments like, for the position I occupy, I'm overpaid based on how well I've been performing lately.
Okay. No, I can, I like that kind of humility.
I guess so, but maybe he's polishing up his resume. I don't know. Maybe he sees some writing on the wall.
Oh, yeah. Is he going to Circuit City? What did Reggie go to? Reggie went to GameStop.
Reggie went to the board of directors at GameStop and also taught at like an Ivy League school.
Cool.
So yeah, Phil, he was in a real negative space in that interview. It was crazy to see. He had to like reiterate and confirm, don't worry, we're not shuttering the Xbox brand.
Not until that Activision merger goes through.
Oh yeah, I mean they're in dire straits with that because that's been blocked. It seems like
by the UK.
Yes, it seems like that might not be.
They were like,
happening.
"Oi,
governor,
get this merger off the coffee table."
So yeah, rough times for Microsoft fans, but that's really all I had to say about Redfall. We're
gonna play through the entire Arcane roster before we play Redfall.
Yeah, I think I've done it now that I've checked off Mooncrash. I played everything Dishonored and more recent.
Yeah.
I have not played what is it? Arx Fatalis?
Axiom Verge.
But maybe I should. Maybe I should. They had a game before Dishonored. I'm trying to remember the title.
Yeah. Deus Ex.
I mean, some people who worked on Deus Ex, I think, did end up at Arcane.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. There's some heritage there. Did you have any other news you wanted to touch on?
Have you heard of this like Cassette Monsters game?
Cassette Monsters.
It's like Pokemon, but better.
Oh, so it's a play on like Pocket Monsters.
Yeah. Cassette Beasts. So it's a Pokemon clone, and its creative edge is like moves and types are like interactable. So if you have a fire type move attack, a plastic type would be Pokemon. The fire will melt the plastic releasing like toxic fumes, and it then has like a poison effect. And poison is super effective against fire, like that kind of that kind of like in multiplicative systems. And then when you go to evolve your monsters, it's like, all right, do you want Grumbloid to ascend or return to the earth? And it's like gives it a new dual typing, and like bosses are roaming the open world, and they're always like a synergistic thing that when you beat it, it splits into two Pokemon would-bes that you wouldn't otherwise find. And so it's $20 and it's reviewing highly.
Is it early access or like formally released?
It will launch on the Xbox and the Switch May 25th.
Okay. Currently PC only?
You would say it's coming to Xbox via Game Pass. No, Steam. Oh, the Steam version launched in April.
Okay. A little bit early.
You would say this looks like trash.
Okay.
Almost like Wargroove meets Digimon.
All right.
But it's just a better Pokemon system.
It sounds like a little more dynamic.
You know how you throw a ball at one of those freaks and it either catches it or doesn't catch it, and you're just chucking balls eventually.
Yeah.
In Cassette Beasts, you hit record on your little tape cassette player.
Oh, I like that.
And you are then recording it, and then you just keep doing more damage to like increase the amount of recording until you've like caught it.
Okay.
And you can't necessarily like. The one thing at Pokemon is like you try to get weak enough without killing it to catch it, and you can't accidentally kill the monster in Cassette Beasts, which I guess is like. I don't know. It was noteworthy to me.
I see. I had a thought popped into my head as you were discussing Cassette Beasts.
Yeah.
You've never brought a Pokemon game to discuss on the show that you've been playing.
That is correct, because the last Pokemon game I played, aside from like Pokemon Go, was maybe like Fire Red and Leaf Green modded onto my MacBook. Emulated, I should say.
Yeah.
No, Pokemon is for children.
Oh, okay.
I'll tune into a live stream of somebody speed running Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but that's only because I just want to laugh at their RNG misfortunes.
I thought it was a little interesting. You're my touchstone into the world of Pokemon.
This is true.
And you bring all the hot, juicy Pokemon gossip news stories to the show.
It's hot and juicy.
I'm just wondering, hey, for a guy who has no desire to play these games, why are you so dialed in?
Why? Oh, no, I heard about this today.
Oh, okay. Not much to say here, but by the time listeners will see this podcast episode, we will be in a post Tears of the Kingdom world.
Oh, are you serious?
The game is out in like a week. I think it comes out Friday.
Oh, everybody get your mom's credit card.
So I did the unthinkable, Heath.
You pre-ordered.
I pre-ordered
a Dredge
and canceled.
Oh.
Yeah, I put the money down.
A physical copy.
I put the money down, and I was like, yeah, I want to be in on the Tears of the Kingdom hype. It'll be huge. And then I realized I just wasn't feeling it. I'll play it someday.
Okay.
I just don't need to be there at launch.
Huh.
I know.
Because you're already like...
Isn't that unthinkable?
Because you're just fat on Nintendo first parties in terms of like, I just did Metroid, I just did whatever.
There's ancient games I'd rather play right now.
Yeah. And there's nothing in Tears of the Kingdom that's not just Breath of the Wild Plus.
Perhaps. I mean,
Breath of the Wild Platinum.
The game isn't out in the wild yet, so maybe I'll be having huge non-buyer's remorse as soon as it's out.
Sure.
But just right now, I feel
It's wild that you canceled it.
I know, right? Isn't that crazy?
That's almost like for personal reasons.
Right. I guess the latest trailer came out that people were very excited about. And I was like, I don't need it right now. Oh, you know what else might play
What's
a
that
factor?
money going toward other? Because this is your first $70 game purchase.
Oh, here's the best part. As an incentive for pre-ordering, I got a discount. I was buying it at 60.
Oh, this is backwards, Chris.
So now when I do eventually pick it up, it'll probably be 70.
What are you doing?
And I'm like,
Are you trying to buy a boat?
for to start my new fishing venture.
Yeah, gathering ancient horrors.
No, I think partially I'm a little conspiratorial and that I think we are on the verge of new first-party Nintendo hardware coming out, and I feel it in my gut. They'll just re-release it, and it'll run way better.
You are putting
I am.
This goalpost could not be further.
Yeah, I'm holding out for the hopes that they port this game to hardware that has not been announced yet.
Oh.
That's how down the line I'm willing to wait.
That's fine. I that doesn't sound crazy.
Because I just think about how if you enter the forest in Breath of the Wild, it becomes a slideshow. And I'm the frame rate.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about how this game's gonna chug.
That makes total sense.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with Tears of the Kingdom.
What's the name of the next?
I'm the
Nintendo
only
console?
video game fan who's not chomping at the bit for this game.
That's true.
What did you say? You asked me a question.
Oh, what's the name of the next? Your uncle works at Nintendo. What's the next console called?
It's got to be another hybrid console, right?
Oh, they would never go back to. They would need a gimmick that's twice as good as on the go.
In a very
deliverable.
non-Nintendo move, I think they swallow their pride and name it the Switch 2.
Oh,
They don't want to confuse people with a Wii U situation.
They call
again.
it like the Switch Advance.
Yeah, it'll be Switch followed by Switch blank.
Oh wait, no, this is Nintendo we're talking about. They're gonna call it the new Switch. New Super Mario Bros. New.
No, I think it's going to become the Switcheroo.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
Okay. That's all the news I had.
Yeah, we should progress.
We should progress. Then let's take one more break, and when we come back, it's discussion time. And we're back.
Yep.
Heath,
Yeah.
let's talk about a concept many a gamer will be familiar with. Let's talk about video game backlogs.
Yeah.
Just like dirty laundry, everyone has them.
Everyone.
Yeah, everyone. Here's what got me. I mean, we've talked about keeping up on game releases and backlogs in the past, and I thought we'd just examine the topic a little more closely. Here was the impetus for talking about it on this episode. It was just the crushing realization that I enjoy Resident Evil games. I finished Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I'm like, hoo boy, there's like now 5 or 6 more of these that I know I'm going to love them, and now I feel this pressure to play them. Add them to the list. I've got Resident Evil 3 Remake, 4 Remake, 7, 8.
Oh.
I already own 2 of them.
I was happier before I experienced this franchise.
Suddenly there's this pressure that exists now that was not there previously. And I'm like, great. As if I didn't already have enough to play. And that got me thinking about backlogs in general. So the term backlog is nothing inherent about it specific to a video game, but that's the context I hear it brought up the most. Unless you feel differently. Do people mention backlogs unless they're talking video games?
Either that or books.
Okay. Some form of media.
Yeah.
Do people have movie backlogs?
Well, I have a poster of like all the Academy Award winning movies, and then you can scratch them off.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's fun.
Do you update that?
I do.
How, like, what percentage have you accomplished?
We've only seen like 20%. There's so many.
Oh yeah, where's that poster?
It's at work.
Oh, it's at work.
Yeah.
Okay, I got that for you like 5, 6 years.
You did get me from that 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's a physical representation of our movie backlog.
That is. I have 0 physical representations of my video game backlog.
You got a spreadsheet, surely,
Yeah, well, we'll get into that.
that you could print out.
I've got a couple of questions to go down the list here.
Shoot.
Just-
In alphabetical order.
In general, what does your video game backlog look like?
You mentioned it already. It's all the Chris games. I got to do Witcher 3, Mass Effect 3, Arcane, Dishonored 2, and then I got to do all those other games that you want me to play. The only game of yours that I've played feels like Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Hey, you swallowed the immortality pill.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Do you make any effort to like keep a running list somewhere, or is it all up here?
It's there's no reason to keep a list because imagine if
Oh, I'm your list.
if you vanished, if you got disappeared, a weight would be lifted off my shoulders. And then I could play Dredge to my heart's content.
You'd have no obligations to anyone.
Right.
You would never have me text you, hey, you downloaded Control yet?
Yeah. I have a list. He walks on 2 feet, and he wears the same shirt as me sometimes.
That's funny. I'm the problem. I do keep a list.
Let's hear it.
I've got, my list exists in like 3 formats.
Let's hear it in song.
I've got just my Steam wish list, where if I have even like passing interest on something, it ends up on the Steam wish list. Maybe never to be purchased, but it lives there in perpetuity. Rarely do I go in and curate the Steam wish list.
I added to mine very recently.
I actually did just make a removal when I took Redfall off of the wish list.
Brutal.
But yeah, it feels Sisyphusian because
Nice. Oh my gosh.
the wish list is now over 200 entries. And I remember back when it was 150.
Surely wait, no, you haven't even surely there are games on this 200 game list that you've touched but not completed.
The wish list is exclusively games I have not purchased.
But you own every game.
I know, right? The fact that
what could be on this?
We could boot it up. It's got
like Momokuna's DLC whiz bang.
no. There's lots of stuff. There's Sekiro. There's the
true.
Forgotten City.
George's game.
Yeah, George's game. There's like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Is like Dwarf Fortress on here?
Nope, didn't make the cut.
Sorry, what was the other? What did you just say? Need for Speed Ultimax? What?
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh yeah. Well, you're waiting for that to be available on another Nintendo console.
No, it's on Steam.
Yeah, but you want it to be the full thing, not just part 1.
Oh, no, I have no qualms with it being broken up like that. But then
you're signing up for a backlog in the future.
I am. This is a tangent, but my hang up with that game is I'm not sure if I want to play the original first or not.
Oh.
I can't decide.
For historical purposes.
Yeah, am I like robbing myself of the joy of like seeing all the changes they've made if I go in blind? And rather with grappling with that question,
You didn't have that qualm with Doom.
Doom Eternal is not a remake. It's a brand new thing. It's not like
So is the Final Fantasy.
It's telling the same story though.
So is Doom.
And the story in Doom is dumb. So it's a non-factor. Anyway, yeah. So I've got the Steam wish list. That's like tier 1 of tracking the list.
Yeah.
Not every
You
game.
have a list of your lists.
Yeah, not every game is on Steam though, so I need another method.
Oh,
that's
GOG?
where the Google Sheets spreadsheet comes in.
Okay.
Where that's
What game What game's not on Steam? Like Christopher Robin's Home Run Derby?
No, this is where we're talking about like Nintendo or Sony exclusives.
Oh.
Like I can't buy God of War Ragnarok on Steam yet.
Because Neil Druckmann didn't put it there.
I can't buy...
Who's God of War, man? Not Neil Druckmann.
Ooh. Cory
Barlog.
Barlog, yeah.
Very good.
I can't buy Ghost of Tsushima on Steam yet. So those are maybe coming down the pipeline. I definitely won't be buying Tears of the Kingdom on Steam.
Right.
I'll be canceling that pre-order somewhere else. So I've got the spreadsheet where I dedicate 1 year per column and I just track stuff I haven't played. And yeah, that's my methodology.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
List number 3.
There was a third list, and I'm blanking on what it would be right now. Maybe there isn't a third list. For my sanity, let's hope there isn't. All right, next question. Here we go. Moving on. In conclusion, I've got several lists, and I am your list.
Your third list is games that you can't buy from a online store. It's all third-party SKUs, like the PlayPal. What's the friggin' flip?
I think
crank?
It's called the Play Date.
Yeah, whatever. That's on my list. Is I want to play. What's it called? Martian Seeking Martian. What's the?
Is it the new Lucas Pope game?
That's that Lucas Pope.
Oh, okay.
It's like Martian After Midnight. Mars After Midnight. Yeah. Just that wouldn't be on Steam and it wouldn't be on not Steam.
Right. It hurts to know there's this unattainable Lucas Pope game just out there in the ether.
It's just looming on that third list.
My next question for you is, let's say, you wrap up your playthrough of Dredge or you finish Mass Effect 3.
I'm not gonna do that.
How do you prioritize? How do you pick what you play next?
Guilt.
Whatever you feel the guiltiest about.
I'm like, God, I'm halfway. I'm not even halfway through Mass Effect 3. Or God, I just installed the patch 4.0 on Witcher 3, which probably fixed my busted sword issue. There's no reason not to go back to those games. I have to finish those games before Frostpunk 2 comes out.
And the oil.
That's all I'm going to want to do is just cover my whole body in oil.
You'll be an oily boy. What factors make you feel more guilty about certain titles compared to others? Just how much I've talked about it? Or Yeah.
I mean, I want to eventually make a super cut of every time we've ever mentioned Mass Effect. And the sooner I finish 3, the sooner we can produce that.
Right. You'll have more material to play with.
So that's a sooner goalpost than the Witcher 3 goalpost.
Okay. Because it'll be more conducive to podcast content.
I mean, yeah, I have to finish all of these games before episode 100.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's when I turn to dust.
That's when your expiration date occurs. I have to say, that window of time right after I've finished a game and I have not yet fully settled on what I'm playing next, that's become the window I most dread with this video game playing hobby. Because I have not yet benefited from the sunk cost fallacy of investing into a new game. So it's the issue of analysis paralysis, or the paradox of choice. I'm wishy-washy on what I want to play next. I'm in that mode right now where I wrapped up Mooncrash and I'm like, ooh, do I play Ori and the Will and the Wisps right now? Do I go do that cool Case of the Golden Idol DLC?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Bailey, there's more Case of the Golden Idol. There is.
3 new cases. It's a prequel.
Oh, my God. Edmund Cloudsley, the early years.
When he was a real hunk. And not the second time.
And not the second time. Nice.
So yeah, this is the part where like I'm even jumping into weird stuff like, what's it called? Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Yeah, what's that game look like?
It looks like Castlevania, but not as pixelated.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm hopping around between games and like I haven't fully committed to anything. And I'm constantly in the back of my mind, the uncomfortable thought is lingering. Oh, would I be enjoying something else even more right now? Am I wasting my time?
Yeah.
So this is a sticky part of the whole video game playing process I do not enjoy. I love the moment as soon as I got a couple hours into Prey Mooncrash and it clicked, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness, I'm in now. I don't have to worry about anything else until I'm done with this.
That's like a pinpointable moment.
It is.
The catharsis of validation.
A lever switches in my brain.
Oh, Chris, you need help.
And I'm like, oh, thank goodness, I'm invested now.
You should start a Twitch channel and as much as like some of the streamers have a little tracker that marks like how many donations, how many subscribers, you should have like a Switch as your only like overlay.
And like which
It's
side is it
either
on?
Off or on.
Right.
And you're just playing the game stone faced. and then you'll be like, "Wah!" And then the mods in your chat will be like, Chris has now switched to on.
Brain blast.
He has no longer qualms about what he's playing.
Right.
And then that will be like, then you will trend on Twitter and be like, Chris is on. What is he playing?
Right. We could make this a recurring segment. Like, what was the moment where the switch flipped?
Oh yeah, and it'd be like 4 hours and 19 minutes.
Yeah, and like it's a more glowing.
That'd be a long switch.
The shorter the duration to the flip, the more we recommend the game.
Right. And how long does the switch stay flipped?
Oh, the switch almost never unflips.
Really? That happened to me with Immortality.
Oof. No, my switch is unidirectional.
Oh yeah. Wait, no, it's not a switch. It's like break glass if fun.
Yeah, break glass if fun.
You can't undo it.
So that's some insight into how my brain works. My next question to stew on is, to what extent, if any, do you ever feel pressured by your backlog?
Yeah. Dude, that Dredge purchase, yeah, I bit my bottom lip as I was like, I'm sinking money and time into deepening my backlog. Yeah, that was
okay.
I would have had, yeah.
Oh, let's.
It was an act of desperation.
I want to dive into that a little bit more. I'm
going to buy Frostpunk 2 with a tinge of sorrow.
How much of a difference or does it make? Do you feel more or less pressure not having played a game if you own it versus don't own it?
Say that again.
Does not having played a game yet weigh more on your conscience if you've purchased it and still not played it?
I mean, yeah, because
I
to
guess
say otherwise would be crazy.
It would be, yeah, to some extent for me too. But
because the barrier of entry is gone.
Because now you've sunk resources into it.
Yeah.
Just not your time yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Although there are some games where even having not purchased it, it pains me more than some games I have purchased and not played.
Oh.
Because they're just such a high priority.
Uh-huh.
Cyberpunk 2077, I'm feeling the heat having not played it. I don't own it.
Remind everybody why you don't own it.
I just haven't paid for it yet.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm totally open to the idea of buying it soon. Oh, I think it's just because in that game in particular,
the controversy.
It's because I think it's in pretty good shape now. I'm waiting for them to like finally release the DLC for it. Liberty City or something.
That's GTA.
No, you're right. I forget what the DLC is called.
Let's just call it Liberty City.
Yeah, it's Liberty City.
Yeah. The Ballad of Cyber Tony.
Cyber Tony. Yeah, I definitely feel some immense is maybe
I bought Inscription twice before I played.
Before you played it?
Before I played Dishonored 2.
Oof.
Yeah.
You injure me with words like that.
I have weird behaviors when it comes to games.
Yeah, when we say when it comes to games, just wanted to hone in on this. To what extent do you think is the concept of having a backlog specific to video games, or do you feel like it applies to other media forms of media as well?
Book club ladies have a backlog.
They do. That's right.
And they get the same amount of shame when they haven't read The Silver Tower.
Do you have that on good authority?
Yeah, I know book club ladies.
Just speaking personally, do other forms of media weigh on you more, the same, equally?
No, I mean, having not seen Avatar 2, it weighs on me not at all.
Well, is that just because it's Avatar
movie,
2?
The only thing that would weigh on me is if there was a product that someone near and dear to me wants to talk about.
Oh, that's why I'm a problem.
Yeah. Bailey's the same way. If freaking Doug Day's Carl's Date were out now, I would feel the pressure.
It's a peer pressure component.
Type of media be damned. Video game or Disney Plus.
It's like the social obligation is divorced from the form of media.
Right. If I lived under a rock, I would have no backlog.
Yes.
I would only have the next game I'm playing.
Okay.
Which could be called the backlog, but I won't call it that.
Sure.
I'll just call it the next log.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head, actually. I came to a very similar conclusion. I was trying to suss out. I have
Among Us is also on my backlog. That was a sus joke.
Nice. I am woefully behind on movies. Can you believe I have not seen the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy? Ooh. Not a one of them. Ooh. And I know I'm going to love them. Well, I know it.
We're going to take Bailey to go see Barbie and then slip away to go see Oppenheimer.
Oh, I've heard the title, but I don't really know what the movie's about.
Okay, so there was a world war, and then there was a second one. And in the second one, we made an atomic bomb.
I'm with you.
And there was a guy named John J. Oppenheimer, and he's like, I wonder what happens if I fission a uranium atom. Ooh, it wipes out this big of a spot in Nevada. Wonder if I have this much uranium and I put it in a plane and I drop it over Nagasaki. And the US government was like, we'll take 2. And Oppenheimer was like, this is very bad. And Christopher Nolan,
that's why you brought it up.
Set piece movie maker is like, I want to make a movie about this. And then let's bring in Robert Downey Jr. Let's bring in Cillian Murphy, who I met on Quiet Place. He's very cool. And then Christopher Nolan is like, remember how on Tenet, I actually, rather than use CGI, I actually crashed a 747 into a building because it would have been cheaper? Remember how in Interstellar, rather than use CGI corn, I planted corn in the field
really?
And then sold the crop for a profit?
That's a fun trivia fact.
Yeah. He's a smart guy. He recreated a nuclear explosion for this movie.
Citizens can do that.
He must have gotten help.
Some governmental approval.
Maybe not the American government, but another government. So
you can always call in those favors to North Korea.
Kim Jong had a cameo in Tenet. So
he got an early premiere.
That's right. So yes, Oppenheimer comes out the same day as Barbie.
Okay.
It's a Doom in an Animal Crossing joke.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As I was saying, I was trying to say my movie backlog, which is maybe more, there's like more egregious misses on that list than my video
Harry
game
Potter
list. No, I finally caught up a couple of years ago on Harry Potter, but it's not as front of mind nearly as much as my video game backlog. I was trying to suss out why that is. I had a couple of theories that I thought of and then dismissed. I was like, maybe it's because my taste in games is broader, which would make the list longer.
Surely it is.
And I kind of dismissed that. I think a wide variety of movies can be equally appealing.
You've only seen, Chris, you've only seen the AAA of movies.
That's fair.
The indie of
That's
movies evades you.
It certainly does. But that doesn't mean...
You've not seen Knives Out.
No, I haven't.
You've not seen...
I'd like to. I think I'd enjoy Knives Out and Glass Onion quite a bit. I don't think I'm
saying that your taste in movies is broad is like saying to the college student that plays Call of Duty and FIFA that their video game tastes are broad.
You're saying I'm a movie normie, and my claims to the contrary
have to be.
Are false.
How could you... One guy cannot be a hardcore gamer and a hardcore movie person.
Oh, I'm not.
None of those exist.
I'm not a hardcore movie person. I'm saying I could enjoy a fairly wide variety of films if I were to watch them.
Oh, we're talking about about your literacy?
I'm just saying it's not like the only films I'll ever enjoy are action flicks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no one is questioning your literacy.
Okay. Well, thanks. It certainly sounded like you were, but I'm glad I got your approval.
No, you were saying that I initially thought the reason I'm more affected by my video game backlog than my movie backlog is because my gaming tastes are so broad, but or so much broader than my movie tastes. But and then you try to say that no, I'm pretty much broad across the board. And to that I said objection.
There's a certain percentage of video games I would enjoy, and I think the percentage of movies I would enjoy is within the same ballpark. That's what I'm trying to say.
What an interesting thing. Yeah, that has to be the case for everybody.
To some extent. I was thinking, hey, maybe I only enjoy this tiny sliver of movies, and that's why I don't feel this pressure to consume them. But no, I'm saying I dismiss that theory. And maybe I did a poor job explaining.
Not just a tiny sliver.
Right.
But a
big chunk of that
pie.
So I dismissed that theory, but so I had to go down the list. So why is it? I do feel immense pressure around games and not movies. And I came to the conclusion it's because of probably the content I consume. There's the concept of peer pressure. There's the concept of parasocial relationships, like a one-sided relationship you have with either like a fictional character or in the case of the internet, like a content creator. I listen to video game podcasts and I am undergoing what I call parasocial peer pressure.
Yeah.
From the podcasts I consume, I get the hot video game recommendations coming across my desk. But since I am not a fervent movie podcast listener, I'm kind of blissfully ignorant of all these films I'm missing out on, so that pressure never accrues on my back around movies, while it does for games, because my finger's on the pulse of games. I know all the things I'm missing out on, and then it starts to weigh on me.
You're blissfully ignorant of X number of things.
Oh, yeah.
If I tried to sell you
so
some true
things.
crime, you would dive deep as Bailey.
Perhaps.
If not deeper.
I joined the criminal. The true crime.
Yeah. Then you become an unsub, yeah.
And there was one other factor here, the contributing to maybe the one thing.
Games cost more.
They do, although I'm often buying them at a discount.
Yeah.
But on the same note, though, the other side of the coin, the games are often a bigger time commitment.
Bigger and better.
Which makes the act of clearing the backlog more insurmountable. Like, I know if I really wanted to, I could watch the entire Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy in one day. Knock it out.
Yeah.
I did it. That's not the case with my game backlog.
You would have so many funny voices after that day.
I would. Like, if I was really dedicated, I could be pretty in the know on like most mainstream movies in a year, maybe, of like hitting it pretty hard.
Yeah.
There's no way with games. It's
What do you mean?
years in the making.
We already there.
It would take me a year to catch up on Yakuza by itself.
I feel like we're halfway there.
Halfway to what? Catching up?
Being in the know on Yakuza.
But that's just one franchise. Now I've got Resident Evil to catch up on.
What do you mean? Okay.
It's
Like, you're not going to play Village.
I'm totally going to play Village.
Oh, okay.
That's maybe the one I'm most excited to play.
Okay.
No, Resident Evil 4 Remake is the most exciting.
True.
Because Ashley's hot.
All right. Back to the backlog.
Where were we?
Bailey, what's a good first date?
A good first date?
Yeah, because you go in a lot of those, right?
Oh, all the time. I don't know what kind of I don't know.
It's hard when you're put on the spot.
Yeah, I guess so. God, I haven't had a first date in like 10 years.
Well, let's wrap this up, and then maybe we'll do the 6 de Mayo.
Yeah. I think we hit everything. Do you have any closing thoughts on Backlogs, Heath?
No, I mean, it sounds like you've learned a lot about my situation, and
you've learned a lot about my situation.
yeah.
My last bullet point is, should Chris seek help?
No.
Phew, what a relief.
No, I think you're armed with. The thing about the backlog is that has an expiration date. You can see by the year 2020X, you're not going to enter the 2030s with a backlog. You will have played all the majority, a super majority of the games that are worth playing.
Here's the thing. I was pretty intrigued on like extrapolating out where do the lines cross intersect. What year is it? In this spreadsheet of mine, I have a line graph going where I chart like number of releases per year I'm interested in playing versus number of games I completed that year. And obviously, if I complete more than are released, I'm closing the gap. If I complete fewer than were released, I'm falling further behind.
Yeah.
And it varies year by year. The past 3 years, I've fallen behind.
Not even keeping pace.
I have sunk further away from the end goal, which causes the existential crisis.
Oh, wow. Oh, what a good problem to have.
It is
your bar is too low.
It's the preferable problem to have given the alternative.
Oh my God.
So one way to solve
too many bitches. I can't even cuddle enough of them.
One potential solution is to raise your standards, I guess.
Yeah.
Only play the cream of the crop so that you catch up faster.
Don't waste your time on the dreck that is Darkest Dungeon 2.
Yeah. Leave Dredge for the fishes.
No, I like Dredge.
Oh, sorry.
I want to play Dredge.
Yeah, so it's a little what's the word?
That's cathartic.
You find it cathartic. I found it demoralizing.
Why?
To like see the finish line getting further away.
I mean, what's the alternative? You're a caveman, and the only thing you have to look forward to is like next year's stick. Oh, unga bunga! I can't wait to play with it.
No, it's totally your reasoning makes sense. Like as long as I'm behind the 8 ball, I get to enjoy games that are discounted because they're a couple years old and they've been patched so they work well. And I have a great time with them. But part of me just wants to be current for once.
Chris, and then uncancel Tears of the Kingdom. Chris, Bailey and I go to concerts on occasion. Concerts, and now that Frontier Airlines is out of business,
Blacklisted.
They did, yeah. We got it in full.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Much effort.
Ooh.
Now that we can't leave New York, we are at the mercy of the acts that come here. Just think of it just like back in the 1800s. You were at the mercy of what traveling vaudeville act came to your town via via like covered wagon. So Bailey, what do we like? January, February, March, April, nothing happened. Right? That's, you talk about dates. I couldn't take her to a concert if I tried. The only concerts available would have been like jazz or country. And so what do we got on the lineup? We got like in the span of like 4 days, it's like Weezer, Pentatonics, Matchbox 20, Fall Out Boy.
No, okay, so Weezer and Fall Out Boy are different months.
But the fact of the matter is, the overwhelming majority of acts that end up in our zip code are in like a 1 month span. And then the other 11 months are nothing. Yeah. Imagine if there were too many good concerts that you could attend. Imagine if you had like only enough budget for like 3 tickets, and every month there were like 5 bands. There was Paramore, Backstreet, like all these freaking Jonas Comes Again. Like imagine if someone was like, ugh, I can't. It's giving me so much stress that there's so many bands coming to my town. That's what Chris is doing right now. He's like, there's just too many games.
But you have to suffer the pain of like, what if your first and second choice are playing at the same time, and you only get to see one of them? It's the other side of the coin.
I guess you're right. In so few words, you've cratered my counter.
I mean, both situations have their pros and cons, for sure. I think having too much abundance is the preferable scenario. Yeah, I'd much rather be drowning in content.
An embarrassment of riches, yeah.
Than wasting away on the vine. Yeah.
It's a podcast. People are listening at 1.5 times speed. They have busy lives.
All right, Heath. Want to close out this podcast?
Speaking of busy lives, yeah, we're coming in just under 2 hours. Hey, if you want to tell us what games are on your backlog, you need only email us at mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com. We said it at the beginning of the episode, but we wanted you to know it again.
Yes, we read every single email on the air when appropriate, when requested. And that's all I've got. I'll just say I liked the nighttime energy. We usually record early afternoon, but this was a refreshing change of pace.
Mm-hmm. The full moon outside.
Yes.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, he stays indoors.
I've been out all day. Bailey woke up. I was gone. She hasn't seen me in what feels like a week.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm going to go to bed now.
Yep. Thanks, Chris.
It was a pleasure, Heath. We'll see you all in the next episode.